Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Rockland School Committee meeting of Monday, June 12th, 2017. First on tonight's agenda, we have 3 items of minutes to approve. First, we have the meeting minutes of May 22nd, 2017. We'll entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And 1 abstention. Minutes of the executive session of the meeting of May 22nd, 2017.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. 3, 4, and 1 abstention. And last but not least are the meeting minutes of the special joint school committee meeting with the Rockland Board of Selectmen of Tuesday, June 5th, 2017.
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Before we get to communications, I would just like to introduce to everybody to our newest school committee member, Dr. Melissa Morrow-Small. We're very pleased to have Dr. Morrow-Small with us tonight. We very much anticipate that she's going to be a very great asset to this committee moving forward and making Rockland Public Schools the very best place it can be. So welcome, Dr. Morrow-Small.
Thank you.
So without further ado, seeing nothing under communications, we're going to go to Dr. Cron and the superintendent's report. Dr. Cron.
Thank you. I also want to welcome Dr. Morrow-Small. I had an opportunity last week to spend some time with her. Very exciting. It makes me want to run for school committee in my own town, but maybe not. But seriously, I am very excited to have you on the committee. The parallels between healthcare and education when it comes to bureaucracy and how money is spent and how things get done, I think we could have spent the entire afternoon talking about it. So I'm very glad to have you join us. Just a couple things about the Rockland Building Project. I want to again thank the town, the Board of Selectmen, town manager, town administrator, Alan Shaka, and Eric Hart for their support through this process. And I want everyone to know we have Q&A, question and answer number 2 now available, and I believe it comes in yellow or green. And it just lays out some of the questions. I think some people, everyone should know by now that on May 1st, town meeting approved an $800,000 set aside for feasibility study. And since the vote, I'm trying to keep up with what kind of questions are out there. I think some folks might want to know what the next step is. So the first step is to form a building committee, which we began last week with the selectmen. And people may want to know how long, what the next steps are. We have some reports due, 2 reports due in July, and then reports due next fall. Then once we submit everything by July 1st, the MSBA will come back to us in 1 to 3 months with a feasibility study agreement. And once that agreement is signed, we move on to hiring the owner's project manager, or OPM, whose first job is to help us hire an architect. And working with the building committee and the district, hiring the architect could take 6 to 8 weeks from the time we hire the OPM. And then once we hire the OPM and get the architect on board, he begins or she begins with looking at all possible site locations, which is easily the most common question I keep getting out there, folks, is about where is this building going to be, and I can tell you we really have no idea. There are so many things to look at. There are a lot of different possible locations, but that's what this study will help us determine, is where the best place is to have that building. So
I suspect it's not going to be in an athletic field.
I suspect it will not be, no.
That's the question I...
Well, in athletic fields, the thing that we've been talking about since the beginning is, this is a town-wide project. And we're aware, although my first responsibility is obviously to the school department, we are a town that works together. We know we need more playing fields. We know we need more gym space. And it's not just for the children, it's for our senior citizens as well. So I'm just so confident that working together, we're going to end up with the school that we want, but with additional spaces that we need as well. Right. So I really want people to understand that they're going to hear about how we're including, from our teen center to our preschool and daycare. We want we want this project first and foremost to serve our educational needs pre-K to 12, but we're a town department, so we're going to approach this together. So, and that is all that I have.
Excellent. Any
Thank you.
further comments or questions of Dr. Cron? Wonderful. Next on tonight's agenda are reports. We have the monthly reports for May, and we have 4 reports which will entertain 4 motions for approval.
Seconds.
We have the administrators, the guidance, the nurse, and pupil personnel services. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. We have 4 votes. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Next on the agenda is school newsletters for June, for your information. I say it every time, always very well done, very comprehensive, colorful, lots of great pictures with smiling faces, and in particular, it's great to see this month's with all the great graduation pictures that were on there. I was sad to miss that, but it's great to be able to see all the great pictures and catch up with what's going on. So well done on the monthly reports as usual. That's great. Also, for your information, we have building rentals for the month of May as our next agenda item. It is starting to slow down, I think, per typical, wouldn't you say, towards the end of the year a little bit? Yep. So that's wonderful. We're looking forward to getting those busy again as the new year comes forward next year. Under old business, we have completed fundraisers for our information. Some successful fundraisers. The Rockland High School, the Eston Pack had an Otis Spunkmeyer cookie sale, and it's no surprise that that was very successful, earning $515. The high school's bake sale, the junior class's bake sale was canceled, and the Pampered Chef fundraiser, I see, didn't raise any money. Did it happen, or did it just?
That's an excellent question.
Are we just not into Pampered Chef, or?
I will have to research
I
that
happen to
one
love the
for
stuff.
you.
I bought something, so maybe it went on. I don't know.
That's
Okay.
right. Yeah, people were buying. Well, maybe that was a silent. I think that Pampered Chef was one where you hand around the catalogs.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll find out.
Okay, great.
Let's track
Thank you.
that one down.
Another one that's no surprise at its success was Phenomenal Fudge, which was run by the Rockland High School class of 2018. They raised $589. The Rockland High School Boosters Recycle Day was canceled. Rockland High School Magazine Images raised $33 through a bake sale. And the Images magazine also ran a magazine sale with face painting that lost $275, which doesn't seem to be the right direction to go in for something, but.
Do we underwrite?
I have nothing on that one. I'm speechless.
Okay.
I'll have to again research that one.
Please.
How you lose money.
On a fundraiser, yeah. But,
Maybe it's a new thing.
yeah, you never know. I'm sure something happened.
hope
But
not.
It'd be good to know.
We can't afford that new thing.
No.
Whatever it is, it's not good
No,
for the
no,
bottom
no.
line.
What is good is what's coming up next, which is Dr. Cron's strategic planning presentation, which we're very much looking forward to.
I would
Dr.
like
Cron?
to. I would like to invite all the members from the steering committee who are in the room. Would be Mr. Harrison, principals. Thank you, Mr. Wells. Thank you.
Mhm.
If you could all come up and stand behind me like my posse. Or you could stand all the way over on the side like that if you wanted. You want to come maybe over here?
Over there.
There we go. I have these visions and then I try to, there we go. Awesome. I appreciate you folks coming. You can't tell right now because we're in a TV studio, but it's really, really nice outside. So this group of folks is representing 21 members of the Strategic Planning Committee that began this process with me back in August. I started as superintendent July 1st, and we began this work together on our retreat in mid-August. And it's hard to believe, but today we were planning this upcoming retreat that's going to happen on August 13th. So it's amazing that this year has gone by. Just in general, I want to say about the strategic planning process. It far and away exceeded my expectations as a tool for learning about the district as a new superintendent. Because we involved so many stakeholders, and because those stakeholders went out and did work in their own schools, and if not in their own schools, within their own departments, So for example, Mark Schaum's on the committee, our head of maintenance, so he had work to do in asking his constituents, his workers, his, people who work cleaning and so forth. So this process was meant to absorb and include as many people as possible. So what I'd like to show tonight, and it's just for the public as well, this is what we're going to cover. Why do strategic planning at all? What's the purpose? The timeline that we followed, the Rockland plan, so the plan that we came up with, and then finally, what's next? So why do we need a strategic plan? So strategic plans really allow us to pick and choose specifically what it is we're going to focus on and work on over the next 5 years. And it's important that all stakeholders understand that just because you work in the cafeteria doesn't mean that your role isn't critical to the success of the entire district. It's important that people understand our vision of how things work in this district from Tim Wells' perspective, who designs our internet infrastructure, or from Mark Schaum, again, who's in charge of maintenance and facilities. They had a lot to add to this process. And I use them as examples because I think when you think of schools, the first person you think of is usually a kindergarten teacher or a classroom teacher. And they are one part of the team, but it's a big, big team. So it's important that people understand that their parts are essential. And I just, for example, without your pinky finger, you lose 50% of your hand strength. It's like I don't know if anyone's ever broken a toe, but it's just amazing when one little part of your team isn't there, how much you have to shift. And I think it's important that people understand how important their jobs are. We need to be able to measure what we've chosen to do. And so having measurable outcomes is another important reason to do strategic planning. It provides us with a direction, and the way I like to explain this is I think about a strategic plan as helping us not do things as much as it directs us to what we are doing. So I probably receive 100 emails a day soliciting our business in one form or another. Professional development, reading, stickers, balloons, I mean, you name it, I get bombarded with it. Well, so do teachers, and so do principals, and so do business office personnel. And it's important that I feel that we have these 3 or 4 really big rocks, and this is what we are focusing on. And it allows us to stay focused on our goals and to exclude or sort of protect ourselves from getting involved in too many things and then not really getting anything done. Communication and engagement, getting our community engaged and engaging ourselves in the community is a very, very important part. And having a strategic plan gives us a clear roadmap that we can share with the public. Very important. And if I've been telling the principals this year that next year is going to be a rough year for them, possibly. Because once we define and decide exactly what it is we are going to do, then it's the principal's job with the teachers to make sure that that's happening in the classrooms. And then it becomes my job and Colleen's job to work with the principals to make sure that happens. So it's hard to have accountability when you don't have it defined, when you don't have what it is you're supposed to be doing clearly defined. So this year we have done a lot to align our 3 elementaries, to look at exactly what we are doing. And so next year when we go forward, the goal would be that I could walk into a 3rd grade classroom at Jefferson and then drive over to Memorial Park and go into a 3rd grade classroom, and they're going to be in a ballpark. They're going to be on a similar page. And if they're not, then I'm able to go to the principal and talk to them about it because they're the instructional leader of their building, and so on. So having the plan in place is very, very helpful for accountability reasons. And then finally, it's because we're trying to keep kids in the forefront. And I think we do that here But all throughout this process, I tried to pretend that there was a student sitting in a chair next to us when we're having these conversations. And I think that having strategic planning really allows us to stay focused on students. So, what are the important parts? Our core values were the first thing that we worked on, then our vision. So our core values are what you believe in. When a core value is violated, and this is when it really resonated with me, when a core value is violated in your school or in your classroom or in your office or in your district, you just know it. Because we don't do things that way in Rockland. And it's easy when you're talking about things like how we treat one another or behavior or evaluation. It becomes more difficult when you're talking about sort of what math series to buy. But if we say that we're going to teach all children, and we choose that word all, we spend a lot of time with single words when you're doing strategic planning. That means that that math curriculum we're looking at, or that science curriculum that we're looking at, we need to ask difficult questions. Does it serve our ELL population? Well, what things does it do for special education? And so we need to hold our core values up whenever we're doing something, whether it's behavioral or academic. And then our theory of action, which is basically an if-then. If we do this, we will achieve our vision. I skipped over vision, but vision's probably the most important one, and the one that I had the most fun working with the team on, because we got engaged in this word audacious. That was the word that sticks in my mind. We wanted the vision for the Rockland Public Schools to be audacious, not we will teach every child. We wanted it to be what's this school going to look like in 10 years? What do kids need to know and be able to do in 10 or 15 years? Anyone who has the answer, please call me, because we can make a lot of money, because it's changing so quickly. So we had to shoot for the stars. And so when we talked about things like what kind of communication skills do we expect students to have? Well, maybe they need to know how to Skype with someone on a space station. I don't know. But these are the kinds of things that I think we have to be thinking about if we want to be even in pace with how fast things are changing. So we tried to have a vision that just kept thinking, well, what if, so sort of dreaming. And then our objectives are the groups of goals, and the initiatives are the specific things that we're going to do, and I'll walk you through that quickly. So this was the timeline. This is what I kept updating and sending out to the committee throughout the year. And again, this will all be online, so I won't go through it right now, but you can look at it later if you want. But this sort of helped me stay in line with the timeline, and it helped, I think, others sort of know what was coming up at the next meeting. Our core values that we ended up with. It's sort of anticlimactic to read these because we spent so much time going through word by word, and you have to picture 21 very, very busy people who are dragged to the library at 9 in the morning and asked to stop thinking about their jobs and just think about this, and sitting around the tables sort of wordsmithing, and we came out with these as our core values. We believe all students can learn, grow, and succeed. Character. So our four core values: achievement, character. We believe in accountability, integrity, respect, and responsibility to ourselves and our community. Collaboration. We believe in a safe, inclusive, and unified learning environment. And perseverance. We believe in working hard to accomplish our goals, especially when faced with challenges. So perseverance, that's a great one when a teacher or a principal is having a problem. These aren't just for the kids. We have to model these things for the kids. We run into conflicts and problems with one another, with the outside world, with whatever. We have to persevere too. So these are important for our teachers to understand, for our principals, and for all of us to accept that, which means we're going to make mistakes, but we're going to persevere. Our vision. This is our vision. The Rockland Public Schools empower students to excel, to lead, and to become dynamic and successful members of our global society. Our theory of action, and this will connect our vision, connect us back to our vision. If we do these things, then we hope we will fulfill our vision. If we ensure all students have equal access to curriculum, if we promote and sustain high quality instruction, if we build relationships, and if we strategically manage resources, then our students will be empowered to achieve their maximum potential. Now, when we came up with our core values and our vision and the rest of the plan, every principal brought the plan back to their own schools, went through it with their faculty. They also went through site councils for vetting. So a lot of this work was changed as a result of conversations that we had with teachers or when it went around the building. There was a lot of feedback and a lot of checking for fact. Is that what we really meant? Here are our strategic objectives. So and they are the four overarching goals that will help us achieve the vision. Ensure that students have equal access to high quality curriculum. So to do that, our strategic initiatives, we're going to review, revise, align, and implement our standards-based curriculum. We're going to develop, expand, and sustain our assessment system. We're going to measure and monitor behavioral health by providing supports. We're going to optimize technology to personalize learning and develop higher order thinking. And we're going to provide a safe learning environment for all students. This will be a committee. There will be one committee next year. There'll be 2 members from the steering committee, maybe 1 member of the steering committee. But the committee that is student learning will be made up of teachers, maybe a student, a parent, but they're going to work on these strategic initiatives, and they're going to monitor that what are we doing to fulfill these, and how are we doing? When it's done, and then we move on. But this is going to be a subcommittee that is going to involve the rest of the school community, not just the steering committee. Our second, instructional practice, so to promote and sustain high quality instruction. Our professional development, we want to make sure that it's safe and supportive, a learning environment that's safe and supportive. That's code for, quite honestly, making mistakes is okay around here. And picking on people for making mistakes is not okay around here. Right? Okay. Create and implement a rigorous standards-based curriculum. Data to refine instructional practices. You guys are doing a really good job, by the way. Jump in anytime. They're all looking at the camera. Differentiate instructional practices to meet student needs, and we want to use data. And finally, align resources to support instructional practices. Resources, money, time, right, personnel. It's mentioned multiple times in here because that's another way we use this plan. How do we spend our money? Because the way we spend our money should be completely in alignment with what we say are our core values and our goals. So we keep bringing it back up that resources. So when someone says, hey, let's do this professional development, we have a half day next month. That time is most likely already accounted for, because if we have a solid plan, that time is already spent. What happens now sometimes, if we're not as proactive and planned, is some things get planned and then the really important things, there's no time for them. So we're trying to reverse that and make sure that what we spend money on and what we spend time on are our top priorities. Our third pillar, strengthen communication within the Rockland Public Schools and between the district and community to enhance and expand relationships. So we want reoccurring and consistent two-way communication. So us sending out 5,000 emails to the town doesn't mean anything unless we know that they're reading it and it has some impact. So we want to have two-way communication. And when I say reoccurring, I mean we want families in the community interacting with the schools on a regular basis. I like to think that remembering that you have something to do on the first Thursday of the month is a heck of a lot easier than we'll check the calendar. So I think that anything we want to really become a part of our district needs to be something that is reoccurring and consistent. Current and emerging technologies to strengthen communication. So for example, this morning we met with our new public relations company, John Guilfoyle, and we're very excited about the press releases, about the new website that we're building, and how we're going to use that tool as a district to move ourselves forward, but more importantly, to work on this strand. A system to engage members of the community in achieving the vision of the Rockland Public Schools. So if I were on the Communication and Relationships Subcommittee, I'd be asking myself, okay, in all of our schools, how do you regularly get the community involved in your building? And we're going to find that some have some really great things going on, and some have some not so great things going on. And if we do it right, we'll share the best practices, and those things will begin to move around the district. And enhance and foster school-to-community partnerships. We have a new member of the school committee who happens to work at a hospital in Brockton and on a floating hospital. So I just got to ride on a boat. And so my point is, our resources there's so many resources in the community that we're not using at this time. I know there are parents out there who would happily have 5 or 6 kids from the high school come and visit their workplace to see what it's like to be an accountant or to be a construction manager or to be a doctor. So I think we want to continue to foster that, or the committee decided they want to continue to foster that. And then finally, student health and wellness is something that we want to keep on the forefront. We're all at risk these days with opioids and other just deadly things that are going on. And if we can get information to our kids earlier and more often, I think we're going to be safer. Resource allocation. Manage our resources to support our programs, our infrastructure, and initiatives that reflect our core values. So we want to continually look at our structure. So that means, do we keep 3 night custodians on and then fewer day? It's everything from custodial to maintenance to teachers to, we always want to be looking and seeing if what we're doing is the best way to do it. In the 1970s and 80s here at Rockland High School, they had so many students, they ran 3 shifts. So you had some kids starting at 7 in the morning, others starting at 7:30. So this idea of that was the way to make it work. We want to always be looking at our organizational structure and fighting the urge to be comfortable and just always asking, is this the best way to do it, and should we be trying something different? Professional development plan is a big priority. Sustain and expand our current technology plan. So again, the town has been wonderful in supporting us with $100,000 a year to maintain and continually upgrade our technology. Very important to our continued success. Looking back up to number 2, I just want to point that out. Professional development costs a lot of money. It's very, very expensive, and it's not just the person that you bring in to do a workshop on how to work with students who are severely depressed. That might be $2,000 a day. But the real expense is the time. So to free the entire faculty for a day is probably a $40,000 endeavor. So how we're using that time and how we're planning for the use of that time is just as important as when we're sitting down over a budget meeting about a textbook we're going to buy or a teacher that we want to hire. And I want us to be thinking about that. So we have 2 hours a month, for example, that's given by the state, by Ed Reform. One's a principals meeting, one is a departmental meeting or faculty meeting, whatever you call it. Well, that's time. And we want to make sure that it's being used productively, so we're going to look closely at that. Continue to upgrade and maintain our facilities and infrastructure. And fund our curriculum and programming review and revision plan. So what's next? So now we take each of the strategic initiatives and we put them on a timeline. We obviously can't do all of those in a single year. So we're going to look in August when we meet on the 13th, the steering committee. The first thing we're going to do is decide which of those things are we going to do this year, which might we do next year, and so on and so forth. A 1, a 3, and a 5-year sort of timeline. Then we're going to form sub and ad hoc committees for each of the initiatives, and then each of those subcommittees will report back to the main steering committee. It's amazing the bureaucracy, but it sounds very, very technical, but it isn't. It's just a way to make sure that we're accountable to someone. And then we want to continue to review our strategic plan and adjust our timeline. And individual schools will then begin their own school improvement plans based on the district plan so that everything fits together. This is the committee and the members of the committee who gave, well, they didn't give, it was on, I guess, school time, but they worked for 18 to 20 hours together as a team and spent I don't know how much time in their own buildings and areas gathering input for this work. And we have just amazing folks. We're very, very lucky. The buildings could fall down and we'd still have a great school. So I want to thank these folks and especially these folks for coming tonight. So I'm hoping maybe there are some questions so that you can hear someone else's voice.
I'm sure there will be some comments and questions, but before we do get to them, Ms. Maniglia, Ms. Shifley, Ms. Sheehan, Ms. Ryan, Mr. Wells, Dr. Harrison, Ms. Ferlizzi, and yes, you too, Dr. Crown. Thank you very much. I know that strategic planning is a lot of intellectual heavy lifting. It's a lot of taking a hard look at what you're doing and taking a hard look at where you want to go. At the beginning of your presentation, Dr. Cron, the two words I think that are important about strategic planning are what and why. The what being understanding what each other do in your mission to do why you do what you do. You mentioned that everyone has different roles, whether it be technology or whether it be curriculum or whatever it might be, or be the cafeteria. Whatever it might be, no role is any less important than the other, and it takes the whole team to make a successful environment like Rockland Public Schools. I found this strategic plan to be both comprehensive and ambitious. I think that our kids are in a lucky situation to be in such a place to have individuals like you and the other people that were on this committee. So before I get to my specific comments and questions, I'll open it up to the other lady and gentleman.
I've said it before, in the corporate world, you'd have a professional come in and do all of this and you just sign off on it. But to have everyone put skin in the game, if you will, people that, yeah, they might have done it on company time, if you will, but this isn't why they kind of came on board initially. They came on board to do what they love, whether it's administration, whether it's teaching, whether it's technology, whatever it is. They were asked to get involved in this, and they did so willingly, and from what I can tell, they've done a great job. I appreciate your leadership, because I guess we have had a strategic plan. I don't know. We got to have one now, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because you do need direction when you're running a multi-million-dollar business as you are. So I thank you all and the people that aren't here as well, for what they've done to contribute to this.
Thanks.
Anyone else?
Oh, I have a few comments. I think you did a great job. The question I have, though, is, where do you start? You've got things to do. There's a lot of stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
And, are you going to be doing certain things concurrently, or are you going to put things in a different schedule?
Yeah.
What's important first?
Well, that's the first step, is when we come back together in August on the 13th for our retreat,
Right.
the first thing we're going to do is take all those strategic initiatives, and we're going to put them on a timeline.
Okay.
What do we think we can tackle right away? Some of them are already underway. Some of them are ongoing. But what's going to have to wait, and what makes sense to do when? So we're going to do that first, and then we'll begin working on really probably the lowest hanging fruit, right? Whatever's half done. This is actually the easy part. I think next year and the year after is the hard part. Sort of like I like to show the herding cats video, because there's this, it's hard to keep people, we get bored. We want to move on to something new. So I want something new. And we need to work this plan, and we need to stay focused. And in order to do that, we're going to need to come back together and meet. And people might feel like, well, why are we meeting again? Well, we need to meet to come back together to check on this plan and this part of the plan and how is it doing. And that's where I think the leadership comes in. We really need to prioritize keeping that plan, staying on top of it, and making sure that we're reporting out and moving forward.
And you think, so the committee, the strategic planning committee, is going to assess and make sure that the plan is being executed, and that, that you're going to be able to measure it?
That's right.
Yeah, okay, and get back to us on the measurement?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So each of those strategic priorities, there are 4 of them, will be a committee. And members of the steering committee one of the members of the steering committee will co-chair that committee. So teaching and learning, Dr. Harrison might co-chair that with an elementary 4th grade teacher. They may co-chair it together. And they're going to go through and they're going to assess, what are we doing to answer these questions on a district level? What are the initiatives that we have in place? And they are going to come back and report. So we're going to stay accountable to each one of those line items.
Okay, you also have flexibility in there for crisis mode. Hopefully you'll get
Right.
into those modes, but you
Right.
have flexibility in there. Because sometimes you get into a strategic plan and all of a sudden, oops, something comes out of the woodwork that's
Right.
not there.
Yeah. I mean,
How would you
obviously,
handle that?
we're always sort of putting out fires or dealing with that, but I think this is a way to keep us on track. Too often the work stops here, and we make the signs and we hang them on the wall and we say we did a
Right.
strategic
Right.
plan. I've personally done it about 18 times, and I've never been a superintendent before, so I don't want it to be like that. And I've been sort of saying that to these folks every meeting, like this is going to get harder because there is this tendency, sort of describe it like packing a suitcase. We made all these difficult decisions and we're just about to close the suitcase and you want to fit one more thing in there, and then one person goes, oh, but what about that? And next thing you know, it wants to explode. And that's how it is working with a committee of people who are passionate about what they're doing. It's very easy to get off track. So having this plan, I think, will hopefully help us stay a little more grounded.
I was just going to comment. I'm sorry, Tom. I was just going to, go ahead.
Okay. The only last thing is that you're going to come back to us. right?
Absolutely.
You're going to give us a schedule. You're going to
Absolutely.
tell what you've done and
Right.
what you have to add or subtract from the plan
Definitely.
as you go along. Okay.
And you'll see this again in the fall because, as I asked on last meeting or the meeting before that, permission for the school level improvement plans to be presented to the committee in the fall, so that they get a little more time to work with this and they can start the school year with it with their faculty rather than rolling it out now and
Right.
people just can't wait
And
to
you're
go
going
to
to
the
make sure it
beach.
dovetails into the strategic plan.
Absolutely.
That's- Whose job is that?
That's, well, it's mine,
yeah.
but it's the principals too. Then the
Right.
principals are going to lead their own school level improvement plans.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I was just going to comment that a lot of times with strategic plans, as much hard work as they are and as much intellectual heavy lifting, as I said before, goes into them, too often they get finished and job is done and we put it into a shelf somewhere or a drawer and the work is completed. But I'm really happy to see that you're considering this very much to be a living document that is going to change and evolve as you go. But any of these start with core values, and I think that those are sometimes the hardest things to sit down in a room and boil down. Who are we? What are we? What is most important to us? So I'm thrilled with this, and it's exciting, and looking forward to hearing back on how it all goes.
I have one other question, and I don't assume, I figured that this is also going into everybody's evaluation.
Evaluation is teacher evaluation, principal evaluation, superintendent
Right.
evaluation is probably the biggest lever. So like when I say lever, I mean, how do you assure that we're all moving in the same direction?
Right.
So when people, in the fall, when principals go to work with their faculty and ask and look at their evaluation goals, their goals need to address our needs. So I've been telling folks this. So when a teacher goes to set their evaluation goals, let's say that they are a a 7th grade science teacher. And they're a wonderful lecturer. They have all kinds of information, but they're not very good at designing assessments, summative assessments, for whatever reason. Their tests aren't so hot, their colleagues have told them. If those assessments are not a tool that we need to make our kids better, I don't care that that's a weakness of that teacher, right? So I want them to be working on skills that will directly relate to our needs, not, I've always wanted to learn how to do better, I don't know, I've always wanted to learn to do something, but that something doesn't relate to something we need, then PD will not go in that direction, because we want everything to point this way. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
That sounds
Any
really
other
good.
questions or comments?
I'll just comment that I am once again struck by the similarities between medicine and education, and it's not infrequent that we often in our different areas in medicine look at our own mission, vision, values in a very similar way. I love that the community involvement and that the student health and well-being are such a big focus here. Obviously, community involvement is what drew me to this position. So I'm just excited that the school is as interested in having the community partner moving the school system forward as members of the community are. I think that will be a key to our students being in a better place.
You know, on the note of health, I think maybe the next time around that you ever do this or invite these nice folks up here, we might invest in some Dr. Scholl's inserts for them for the amount of time they had to stand here with us.
Slippers.
Exactly, slippers. Well, thank you all
Yeah,
so
real
very much. I
troopers.
know that we're going to need to have a vote to approve this tonight. Is there any other questions or comments?
No.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That's a
Thank you
vote.
very much.
All right,
Thank you,
thank you.
everybody. Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Yeah, a lot of work. Thank you. Thank you.
Next on tonight's agenda, under new business, we have some folks from the Rockland High School Music Boosters with us tonight. Good evening, welcome.
Thank you for having us. My name's Doug Schofield. We're just completing our first year with the Music Boosters with my wife, Mary Ann. So this is our first year all doing it. Denise Dalton is the vice president, and Caroline Field is our secretary and liaison. And just wanted to give you a wrap-up of the year. We ended up spending about $17,000. We ended up bringing in about $1,100 in fundraising, so we ended up with a deficit of about $5,000 this year. And we probably could have stepped up the fundraising, and we're planning to do that next year and thank the town for all the support of the band program. And our mission here is really to support the band and chorus and Mr. Piazza with growing the music department. The numbers have gone down a little bit, and he's going to start incorporating the 8th graders into the marching band and to try to increase the numbers of students coming on board. So, and some of the expenditures, just to give you an overview for the year, we collect and clean all the band uniforms at the end of the year. We run a band camp to get the kids prepped for marching band for the football games when they start, so they're ready to go in September. We did a band day out at Gillette Stadium. We did like a Halloween party for them. We participated in the stroll, the various concerts in the auditorium. We did supply scholarships this year too to students, and we also ran a music banquet to recognize the students for their achievements and years of participation and things of that nature, and that night went really well. They run a slideshow too to kind of recap the entire year, which is really nice. The next season we hope to We're going to do a dining for a cause at the 99. We're going to continue to sell apparel that we buy from Rockland Athletic and try to fundraise a little bit with that. We do a can and bottle bin over at the track and appreciate everybody that drops off cans and bottles. They do get used by the band. The money goes into the general band fund for scholarships, and it's really for scholarships, that money out there. We're going to try to do a paint night. We're on the list for Barrett's Haunted House. We're going to do the mattress fundraiser again this year, hopefully in October, and do a prize calendar, recycle day, and we did a successful LCR tournament that went really well and was well received. So, and we're continuing. We're going to be on the board again next year. We've all been reelected, so we'll be here for another year, and then we hope to be able to pass it on to a new generation. So I think that's about it. Let's see. Yeah, we're gearing up now to run our next band camp, which will start up in August. So that's our next big task, is to get all the stuff ready for that and ready to go. So thank you for having us here tonight. And anybody have any questions for me? Or?
Any questions?
I just want to say, I think, I'm excited about the music program. As you pointed out, our numbers are small, but I see new enthusiasm.
Yeah.
The kids that are there, the parents that are there all the time, supporting them, helping them, and bringing them to lessons, I'm sure, and doing all these things that are being done behind the scenes that we don't know about and most people don't know about. But when I go to a football game, the first game of the year, and I listen to these kids because of that band camp, they're right on the spot. They do a great job. And being an old man and a grandfather, I have grandchildren, and they don't all go to Rockland Public Schools, much to my chagrin. But I go and I see other bands in other towns, bigger towns. And you say your numbers are small. Your numbers are greater than some of these bigger towns, believe me. And the talent exceeds a lot of what I've seen. So, and I'm hopeful that with our new director, I know he's busy at the elementary schools, and numbers take time.
Yep.
And with the help of the parents, and I personally, and I know the committee is so appreciative of the hard work this is, raising these monies. We couldn't do it without you. We really couldn't. If all the PACs and the boosters and different groups that help support us, we couldn't do it without you. But I'm excited about it. You see me here and there because I am excited
See
about
you
it.
at the concerts.
And just keep up the good work. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
One of the things that really caught my attention this year too was how the band performed at the Memorial Day Parade.
Oh, yeah.
And, and the instrumentation, the way they acted, and, they were really good, really good. The only question is these expenses, are they all reoccurring expenses, or is there any one-time expenses in there?
Most of them are, running the band camp this year, we're going to try to reduce the cost, and that's a good point. We're trying to have the 8th graders come aboard, so we don't want to scare them off with high costs. So that is something we're trying to do this year, definitely, is we're just talking about that tonight. We just had a meeting before this with John, and we're going to drop the costs and make it more accessible, I guess would be the word. And so those costs will be less this year. And the scholarships we may have to reevaluate if we don't have enough funds to give out. We may do a percentage base. We're going to evaluate that. The music banquet, we may have to try to find ways to reduce that, although the food was great this year, and the kids had a really good time. Some of them said it was the best thing all year. So,
you don't want to take anything away that they've already seen. That's good. What's that? It's $1,000 for
one thing to mention that is we're a 503B, and that was allowed to lapse from whatever reason before we came on board. So we had to get that reinstated, and there was really no ducking the fees involved in that. So,
but will that be an annual fee?
No, that's a one-time. It's done.
Yeah,
it's fixed.
Okay, so that's one.
It's a repair cost, really. It's unfortunate,
good.
but And that's a lot of money to give away to just fix something, but
Right.
it is fixed and that's a done deal, so.
And I'm just, picking the bus, I mean, did you get the buses from the school?
Sometimes, this was, this one, I believe the school wouldn't cover because it's it's, I don't know if, it's not considered
Okay.
like an in-school field
Yeah.
trip. It's on a weekend and it's something that we did pick up the cost for, so.
Okay.
But we did pretty well, I think, to get through the year,
Yeah,
where we
you did.
were.
I appreciate that.
And
Like
it's tough to fundraise if there's only a few of you, you end up doing it all.
And-
But next year, we hope to do, get some good fundraisers going and get more people involved and,
So if anybody decides to, listening to what we're doing tonight, and you need some additional help, you'd be more than happy to accept that help, right?
yeah, and we
so-
meet monthly here at the school, once a
Okay.
month, and they could talk to John Piazza or anyone
Okay.
in the music department about when we meet, and it does get onto the school calendar, so.
Great, thank you for your
Yeah,
time.
just to echo what Tom said about the
Yep.
Memorial Day Parade,
Yep.
couple thoughts I had. First of all, marching with them, I got to listen to them the whole time, and they sounded absolutely
Oh,
awesome.
great.
But the other thing was, as I was coming down the street where the parade was getting ready to begin, I had the opportunity to stop and chat with them for a little while. A great group of kids.
It is a great
I
group
mean,
of
they are
kids.
just good people.
Yeah.
There were smiles ear to ear. They were excited about being there. And you could tell they really understood what the Memorial Day Parade was about, and they really appreciated and respected that.
Very nice.
So great job. And thank you for all you do, Mr. Schofield.
you.
Without our boosters and our packs, I just don't know where we'd be. This truly is a community effort with all of us, and we couldn't get it done without all of you. So thank you for all you do and all
Yeah,
of
I'd like to
you.
thank all the boosters, and
Yeah.
it is a great group of kids.
It is. It
and
really
thank
is.
you. Well,
Great
thank you.
job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next up, under new business, we have another wonderful group here with us tonight, our SPED PAC that we're going to hear a report from.
How are you? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alicia Pattison. I am currently the chair for the SPED PAC. The Rockland CPAC, or Special Education Parent Advisory Council, is a group of dedicated parents who are committed to providing information, support to parents of children with disabilities. Our meetings range from who we are, how we can help families, and questions and resources to specific topics. This year, along with our basic rights, we covered sensory issues and parenting skills. We had Sing, Explore, Create Music come and had a Halloween party, which I believe was one of the kids' favorites. They got in their costumes and they had a lot of fun. In May, we had our yearly toll booth, and thanks to the generosity of Rockland residents, we were able to give back to you. This included helping some of our classes go on some field trips, also providing supplies for the teachers, and especially we were able to give to 3 of our seniors for the Ben Kimball Scholarship. We ended our year with a pizza party and a few games of Books for Bingo, another one of the kids' favorites. Any questions?
Yeah, how much did you raise all total? Do you have a number?
2,500.
Okay,
Yep.
okay, and that was just, that was the toll booth, right?
Yes.
Yeah. that
Yep.
was-
And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
our primary income.
Right, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Well, that sounds really good.
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks for the selectmen, too, that let us do that every year. If you folks are able to come up with that money to help us, it's very
Yeah.
much appreciated.
It's hard because there's only 3 of us
Yes,
that do this.
Well,
And we're
as the
trying to bring
gentleman's-
in more parents, and we're trying to send out flyers to the schools, and we have everybody's support, which is awesome, but it's getting parents to come, and the awareness that we're here to help, and anything that anybody needs. We'll bring in speakers, we'll do, whatever we can to get some answers to some of these parents.
well, like Mr. Schofield said, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Right?
Absolutely.
Something I think about the CPAC that's really special too, maybe even different than some of our other PACs or booster groups, is just what a resource you are to each other. You have my admiration and respect so much for what you all do for each other. You help each other out, and I know Michelle Kippenhand's here, and you guys work
Yep.
very closely together and
Yep.
taking care of not only the fundraising efforts and awareness efforts, but helping out other parents with similar
Yep.
challenges. And
Well, I think it's especially, for those of you who don't know, I drive a special needs bus. So I drive the kids every day. And I would take every one of them home with me if I could. I have a 12-year-old with autism. So anything that I can do to make awareness or answer a question for a parent is huge.
And it's huge for you being here tonight, and hopefully, I know we don't exactly bust down the viewership levels at school committee meetings of people watching at home, but I hope that this, yeah, it could, but,
We
you know, but nonetheless, I hope that, you know, folks are able to turn on the TV tonight and hear a little bit about the great work that you do, and hope more people do get involved, because
Right.
you are such a great resource, and you guys
Thank
do such
you.
great work, so thank you for all that you do.
I just
Please,
want to
yeah.
add one thing. I've been in multiple districts, and a lot of time, you know, some of the disabilities that the families that you represent, some of the disabilities that the students have create incredible challenges in the families' homes, day-to-day things as simple as how am I going to get to school today? You know, am I going to walk or ride? No. Am I going to? And so what that tends to do is create animosity. You know, it tends to create sometimes parents of special education students feeling like they have to fight for everything.
Yep.
And never before have I had someone pull me aside and say, you know, so-and-so from your PAC was in Hanover speaking about this and saying what a great district you are and how happy they are. I've never experienced such a positive PAC group ever. And I'm so appreciative of it. And I hope that we can expand the number of parents who come through.
I think a lot of it, they don't know we're here. And especially
Yeah.
the new preschool parents coming through, to let them know that we're here. And if they need ABA or they need a sensory issue, we'll find a speaker. We'll bring that speaker in, and if we can't give them the answers, we'll find the answer for them.
That was one of my thoughts, was how do you reach out to people in the community and let them know that you're available? I'm wondering if, you know, do the local pediatricians know that you exist? I don't know. I don't do primary care, but.
There's a CPAC in every town, or there should be. We've sent out flyers. We've done all calls. I don't know if it's because we try to look at the calendar before we plan things. So if there is another, you know, something else going on that night, we try to avoid that night.
I know as pediatricians, we're often looking for places to refer families to with special needs, for support groups, for people to help, for all those things that
Yeah.
we don't understand because we don't live your life.
Right.
And so I wonder if it might make sense to outreach to some of the local pediatricians that
Absolutely,
serve
that would
this
be a great
community,
idea.
and might help get you more support and also allow you to do more good.
Absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
As well.
Doctor, do the pediatricians have an association or get together?
I mean, I can help network with the
right.
pediatricians that I know that refer their patients to Brockton Hospital. But there's lots of different offices. People are really separated in some ways, but there is, you know, Mass Med Society and the Massachusetts chapter of American Academy of Pediatrics and things like that. But I am happy to kind of
That would be great.
facilitate, you know, the physicians that refer to Brockton Hospital. I have easy access to them and,
Yeah.
and can certainly connect them to you. But I know, you know, I only do inpatient medicine now, but when I did primary care, we were always looking for resources. And yeah, so I'm sure they would be very appreciative.
That
Just
would
the
be
yellow
great.
pages. You go to under doctors, pediatricians, and they're listed, and
Does he still
I
have
would
the
give you
other-
a shortcut.
yes, they do.
Yeah. They hold up one of my chairs.
Yeah, oh, yes, yes.
May I say
Well,
something?
yes,
About
please.
Alicia as a special ed van driver? She's serious when she says that she would take those children home. All the special education van drivers care about those children so much, and they make it an adventure to drive to school. It's not just a trip. They really do.
I think they like me because I'm their height.
I think most of these drivers
I
are,
kind of fit in.
I see, okay.
but they're a special group.
They really are. And like I said before, you all
lucky.
have not only mine, but I know the rest of the committee and all of our administration's respect and admiration. And thanks
Yes.
for all the work that you do. And
Thank you.
It's working. You're helping.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, hits just keep on coming. We've got some great people here tonight. We also have the Jefferson School Pack here to present to us.
Hi, I just wanted to introduce Jessica Carpini and let her know, and my whole pack know how appreciative the Jefferson School is of their hard work this year. They filled in when my new teachers needed books for the classroom, whether it was a rug for the teacher's room. They just filled in gaps when we needed them to, and they're an amazing group of people. They show up in a split second when we need them, and I truly appreciate them. So this is Jessica Carpini from the Jefferson School Pack.
Hi, thank you for having us, or me, I guess. So this is my 5th year on the Jefferson Pack. My first 3 years were as treasurer, and this year, I have been the chair, and I'll be stepping down to let some new Jefferson families take over. It's been an honor, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I have someone entering kindergarten, so I'll still be very involved over the next 5 years. And we had an excellent year this year. We actually started off the pack this year. Our budget had almost $7,500 in it left from previous years, and we have managed to spend most of that money this year, but we've spent it very well, I think. We had 2 school-wide assemblies, so K through 4. We had a top secret science assembly in December, and Susie Klein came. She's an author of children's books, and she came and visited in May in conjunction with Literacy Week and our Scholastic Book Fair. So we spent a little over $3,000 just in those 2 assemblies alone. We also sponsored some family events, and I consider family events to be those that aren't specifically fundraisers. So they're events where the PAC is spending its money and we're not having any return on our investment other than involving the families of our Jefferson students. We offer a Boohoo Yahoo breakfast for our kindergarten families, our Scholastic Book Fairs, Holiday Boutique where the students can purchase items for their family members. And this year we introduced Candy Bar Bingo, which was a huge hit, and I think we'll be doing that again in a few different forms over the next couple years. We also supplied grades 3 and 4 with MCAS support bags. And for our 4th graders, we are hosting a barbecue complete with a DJ. They have a moving up ceremony later this week. And the PAC also supplies yearbooks for all of the 4th grade students. We do incur some PAC expenses. Those were roughly $600 for stamps and paper. We try to get donations as much as possible so that we're not spending PAC money on actual PAC needed items. We also offer the school nurse, Mrs. D, reimbursement for anything that she needs to purchase in support of the students. And this year for our teachers, we spent a little over $2,000 on a back-to-school luncheon, Teacher Appreciation Week. There was a book club for the teachers. Mrs. Shifley chose a book, and we purchased them for the teachers to have discussions on. And we also reimburse each teacher up to $100 on money that they spend individually on supplies for their classrooms.
Very good.
And then for the entire school, as Mrs. Shifley said, we did purchase new carpet for the teacher's room, recess equipment. We supply water for all of the classrooms. We supported the PBIS initiative with spirit sticks each month or every other month.
You received those at the PBIS ceremony.
Classroom magazines, classroom supplies, the field trip buses, any field trip expenses that aren't covered by what money we collect from the families, and field day. Overall, we raised almost $16,000 this year. And we had a fun run this year, which was our biggest fundraiser. We made over $5,500. And we're actually going to use a bigger and better company for our fun run next year. So we're really excited, and we've already been working with them on that. So I think that number will go up for the next school year. We have 2 dances, a Halloween dance and a special person dance. We do a catalog fundraiser, Change Wars, and then we also do some smaller fundraisers through Savers, McDonald's, Polar Express Night, and then the Stop and Shop A++ rewards. So I think we had a pretty successful year.
And you also gave.
We gave a little over $5,500. Would we do a book fair, we can either make a decision to take the profits from the book fair as cash, or we can take it as scholastic dollars. And it's a higher percentage if we take it as scholastic dollars. So we did that with both the spring and the fall book fairs. And that money was spent on new chairs for the teacher's lounge, new books for the library, books for classrooms. So over $5,500 was spent just on books and classroom supplies from Scholastic this year.
Oh, wonderful,
So-
wonderful.
Awesome. Comments and questions from the committee?
Oh, great job.
Just
Yeah.
blows my mind.
Thank you. Thank you. I have a great team.
All right.
$16,000.
Thank you.
That's incredible.
That's good.
My two oldest boys are students at the Jefferson School, so I see Ms. Carpini there quite a bit. She's always there giving her time. There with her own kids. I think she said she's been involved with the PAC 4 years now.
5 years,
5 years?
actually. 5
That-
years.
It's been a very successful PAC for a long time, and thank you
Yeah.
for all that you've done with that.
Thank you.
This PAC is amazing. I mean, it's
do.
it's
We have a
great,
great-
the
we
stuff
have a
that you
great
guys do.
team.
The stuff that you provide, my kids love it. Thank you. It's awesome. I'm sad to see that you're going to be moving on, but I know we're not losing you completely. I know we'll all be working together with Ms. Carpini in the school building project on the building committee.
Yeah.
So we'll look
Yes.
forward to working with you on that.
Very excited
I'm sure
for
Ms.
that.
Vaughn is looking forward to you coming up here next year.
Well, I still have 3 at Jefferson next year, so
Oh, but
they
that's
have
all right. I
the
mean, you
majority of my children for another year or two.
Thanks for all you do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
We also have with us tonight, as item D under new business, the Memorial Park PAC, who we're very much looking forward to hearing from.
Hello. Nice job, Jefferson School. You should be commended for all of those things that you did, because that's a lot of work. Absolutely. So I am here to introduce Jill Maroney. She is our chair of the Memorial Park PAC. She has done an amazing job again this year, coordinating everything with the PAC and just getting volunteers to help out in every aspect. Every Thursday morning, we have a set group of moms that come, and they are like Santa's workshop doing our communication folders that go out every Thursday. They have an assembly line of things that they take out and organize, and all of the bins that they deliver to each classroom full of the communication that we send out on a weekly basis. So it's not just all of the events, it's the little things that happen on a daily basis that Jill coordinates. So I'm going to turn it over to Jill to tell you all about Memorial Parks PAC.
So first of all, I'm blessed to have a great team on our PAC. I have been on the PAC 4 years. I started as a secretary, and now I'm chair for 3. I'm with Cheryl Common, who's our treasurer. She's almost like my other chair to me. She doesn't hold that title, but she certainly is my other girl. And then Jen Holbrook is our secretary and the flyer master. So without those 2 with me this year, there would be no PAC. We really do work as a team. We have a continuous text that starts probably at 7 in the morning and goes to 10 o'clock at night daily. So we're blessed. As far as my folder fairies, I'd like to thank, the name's right out of my head. Julia Craig is the lead dog on that one. She totally took it, and she coordinates the girls for me. And when they're short, there's 4 of them together. It's Julia Craig, Valerie O'Loughlin, Kelly Schubert, and, Lori Maroke. The 4 of them, if none of, or one of them are not there, then Juliet will reach out to me. I set them up like Mrs. Sheehan said, but as far as they do it all, I just sort of lay it out and they get it done for me, so that's been huge for us. We started this year off, we try to do an event each month. We started off with movie night in September. It was supposed to be an outside movie night, Zootopia, but the weather, as usual, had cooperated, so it ended up to be inside. We raised $696 that night. We did the Dutch Mill bulbs in the fall as well. That was $1,031. We did have one craft day this year. We have done more craft days in the past, but this year the Rockland daycare is in our cafeteria, and logistically it just made it hard for those students and for our students, but we did start off trying. We did have 88 kids decorating 88 pumpkins for craft day in October. That is not a financial win for us. It's more fun for the kids, and that's what we're supposed to be, it's not always about the money. So that one was a negative. We did do a fall dance. It's our usual fall dance every year. It's family fall dance, and we profited $751 on that. We did 2 book fair, ice cream social, and raffle nights. We do one in November, and we do one in April. In November, we also had a huge raffle night, and being a dog myself and being proud of that, we try to keep in the town and reach out and see where we can get. This year we were blessed that the Rockland police officers volunteered, and we did a ride with a police officer to school, and we did a lunch with the police officer with Officer Schnabel. We are blessed to have him. We also did a ride to school in a fire truck. We were blessed with that with the Rockland Fire Department. And we did 2 reserved front row seats for our 2 concerts, our winter concert and our spring concert. We did a Name That Circle around the front of Memorial Park, is that drop-off circle for the buses. Ava DeCourcy won, so it's the Ava DeCourcy way. So we will do that. That was a great fundraiser for us. We will do that each year now, so now we're just going to discuss when she gets to take her sign. The sign was donated by a Memorial Park family that chose to be anonymous, but again, blessed with the town that when we put it out there as a raffle, this family contacted me to offer the sign. Ava has 2 signs. The sign was ginormous the first round, so that one is on her mantle, and then she has the more fitting sign that is still hanging in front of Memorial Park. We also raffled off an iPod Touch. We try to do that once or twice a year. We have already purchased the one for next year. And then we also had, skipping 2 but related, Pat the Patriot came, and he gave us a helmet that Mr. Mills won, a signed helmet by...
My grandson, I never saw it.
I put it in his bag.
Yeah, right, no, he was very happy.
He was very happy
I got a
that
picture
day.
of it right, about 20 seconds later,
It was gone. Can you imagine me walking down the hall to give it, and all
Right,
the little kids were
thank
like,
you.
who won? It was you. So we were blessed with Pat the Patriot. So back to, we did ice cream social book fair. We also do the book fair. We do Scholastic Dollars that goes back to our library, and she does get that twice a year. In November, we always do what we call our feather challenge. Each classroom gets a turkey on the wall, and the children can buy a feather for 50 cents. All of that money is raised to pay for 2 families, Memorial Park families, soup to nuts dinner for Thanksgiving. And we also were able to do 3 families for Holiday Magic for their presents in December. And then we did, in the spring, we do the gold coin challenge, the same thing. The cauldron goes up, kids can buy the gold coins for 50 cents, and that money goes towards 2 scholarships for Rockland seniors. It's $500 scholarship, and that was raffled to, or I should say given to, Kelsey Willett and Cornell McWilliams this year. They were graduates, they were students of Memorial Park, and then made it further. As far as giving out, so that's how we sort of make our money. This is how we sort of spend our money. We had Youth Mover come in the beginning of the year. He was a spokesman for bullying. He did a great presentation, so much that it was time for the kids to leave to get back to the classrooms to get on their buses, and we couldn't get them out. So he did awesome for us. Like I said, we had Pat the Patriot come. We have the kids get to do the holiday shopping in December. We did the food trucks we had a food truck come for teacher appreciation this year. We do all the field trips for each class. We have field day coming up this Friday. We just last Thursday, because we have kindergarten this year, we have field day for 1 through 4, but we let the kindergartners have their own special time. So we had Joe's Crazy Critters come on Thursday. We have 3 kindergarten classes, and Joe let them each have their own individual time with their Crazy Critters, and I heard that was a blast. It was in the outdoor classroom, and the weather cooperated. Coming up after field day, we have 4th grade graduation. The PAC provides T-shirts, little cups, cupcakes, and a class picture for each graduate and a ceremony. And the next day there'll be their barbecue with a DJ and a photo booth. And we have an MP dad will be doing the grilling. So it's really a whole event. I think that's where I'm down to my end here. I'll just end with box tops. This year is a huge thing for us. I have Nicole Mann is my box top girl, same thing. I just ask for help and she's right there for it. She raised in collecting those with our dog pound of $1,231. So, any questions for us at Memorial Park?
Questions or comments from the committee?
That's a great job, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
And I still haven't seen the helmet, but I'll have to get that.
I know I put it in his
Yeah.
backpack.
No, he hasn't, no, yeah.
Yeah, Ms. Maroney, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I mean,
You're welcome.
you deserve a big breath, because after everything that you just told us that
My
you do.
children knew I could talk.
No, but I just appreciate how much work that is. I mean,
It's
how
a
much
lot.
work that you all have done. I mean, for the whole PAC, but particularly as the chair of the PAC, this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And
It's a lot of work.
It's not, this stuff doesn't just happen and come together.
Right.
There's a lot of great people behind the scenes doing a lot of work to make sure that the student experience over at MP is as great as it is. So thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for coming here and taking the time to tell us about it tonight.
You're
So
welcome.
anybody wants to volunteer can contact you? or
Well, we
Christina?
have, the 3 of us have this year coming as our last year, so we're already trying to line up the next pack
Next,
after us so that they can follow us
Okay.
and have,
Big shoes to fill.
Yes.
we try.
Big shoes to
All
fill.
right,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank
you
you.
both. Thank you very much. Okay. Next up on tonight's agenda, we have a request for approval of the Rockland Daycare Program Parent Handbook, and this is the first reading.
Motion to table?
Second,
All those in favor? That is a vote to table.
did you want to talk about it?
I can just tell you, it's a brand-new handbook done by Jerry and Marissa.
Great. Okay. Up next, we have a request for approval of fundraisers. We have 10 of them. Earlier, we heard from Mr. Schofield of the Rockland High School Music Boosters, and he told us that they were going to be stepping up the fundraising, and they're wasting no time. We have 10 items on here that we'll be looking for approval for. They'll be having a mattress sale, which I remember was wildly successful last time around. Dining for a Cause in September. They're having a 50-50 ongoing raffle, a fundraiser at Barrett's Haunted House, a paint night, a bottle and can collection, a Rockland High School music apparel sale, an LRC tournament, a prize calendar, and a recycle day. So we'll be looking for 10 motions to approve.
10 motions.
10 seconds.
And 10 seconds. All those in favor? That is 10 votes. Thank you very much.
The LRC, what is that? I'm looking for that one.
Yeah, LRC is a pretty common new fundraiser, and I don't know all that much about it myself, to be honest with you. Does anybody know how that goes?
Left, right, center?
Left, right, center is a board game.
Oh,
Like a
okay.
bingo?
The dice.
It's like a bingo kind of a
Okay,
thing?
all right.
No, you have dice and you pass
Right.
it, like 3 dice, you roll it, it says left,
Okay.
right, or center, you have to pass things.
Okay.
Well,
Oh.
maybe not money, maybe chips, I don't know what they
Yeah,
pass.
right.
Awesome.
I know it. Leadership Reaction Course is my LRC.
Someone wins the pool at the end.
You never cease to amaze me,
Mm-hmm.
Colin.
That's good.
He knows lost stuff.
He's the best. All right, up next, we have the request for approval of a special education wheelchair van. Dr. Cron, Colleen?
Yes. Well, the next 2 items, actually, the first one is the wheelchair van. I went out to bid, and I had 2 companies bid, Merchants Fleet and Capital Lease. And I am recommending Merchants Fleet for the lower price per month, everything else being the same, with the term and the mileage allowance and so forth, maintenance coverage.
Please send purchase up, yeah. Motion to approve.
Second?
All those in favor?
All right.
That is a vote.
Okay, and the next one is a special education 7D van. Again, 2 bidders, Merchants Fleet and Capital Lease. I'm recommending Capital Lease. Again, all these same mileage allowance, maintenance coverage, substitution, so forth, just a lower price in the monthly payment.
Motion to approve.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye.
And I just to
That-
mention now that we have 10 special education vans, so we are able to pick up some of the out-of-district day routes,
Oh, good.
which is a good savings in
Oh, that's
transportation.
good.
That's great.
Good.
Okay, next up, I know he's very much looking forward to this, the appointment of Dr. Cron to the North River Collaborative Board.
Amen.
It's a board that Mr. Phelps and I have both served on in the past.
You're much better than I have.
And as a model, the collaborative is moving from having members of school committee represent them on the board to having superintendents, which I think Mr. Phelps and I both agree is a very pragmatic way to handle things.
They're calling it the Phelps motion. I think.
Phelps motion, I think it will be named that. But you folks are on the ground and you know a whole lot more of what's going on with our collaboratives, and certainly school committee members would. So
Motion to approve.
we have a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Yay.
Aye. Congratulations, Dr. Cron.
Thank you.
And there you go.
Okay. Request, next up on tonight's agenda is a request
We
for,
expect a report next month on it.
I'll get right on that. Mr.
all right.
Mills.
Thank you.
I'd like to know more about the health plan and a few other things that they have.
up next is a request for approval for homeless students enrollment rights and service policy changes.
Wow, a lot of changes.
Anything you want to highlight there in particular, Dr.
No,
Cron? or
just some
Ms.
changes
Berlizzi?
in regulations. I think it's reflective.
Okay.
Okay.
Is this something that should be tabled, or what
Good.
do you think, Tom?
Is there a, this is the first time we've seen it, right?
You can do a first reading if you want to.
Yeah, why don't we
consider
table
first
this?
reading.
As long as there's no
Another
hurry.
people
I
get
give-
involved.
Absolutely.
That
Yeah.
way, anyone that might have questions or whatever
Can
can
come back.
contact the superintendent's office
Yep.
to read it if they would like.
Yep,
Okay, so we'll motion to table?
yep.
Okay, we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you, that is a
Okay,
vote.
Thank you. And here we are.
Here we are at the end of tonight's agenda with public service announcements. With that, Mr. Mills.
Just realizing that the end of the school year is almost here. Seems like we just started, and we had a great graduation program. That really went well. Though at the hurry the last 15 seconds, I felt a couple of drops of rain, and I said, "Oh, good timing." I enjoyed that. It was really, really good, and I liked the process that you went through, particularly on the scholarships. That seemed to be moved along very nicely, very nicely. I appreciate.
I think Dr. Harrison and his team did a great job.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So,
Okay, Mr. Phelps?
It's almost as though Dr. Harrison had done it before. He really, I thought graduation was just, couldn't be more perfect, really. I thought it was super. Hope everyone has a safe summer. I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Okay. Dr. Morrow Small?
Thank you all for the honor and the privilege of being allowed to serve on this committee. I'm really looking forward to working together to do great things for our children. So thank you.
Fantastic.
I have one more. Okay. Students that make sure you get your summer reading. Get your books now. Get that there. And the AP students, make sure you get your stuff going, because it's a hefty haul to carry. Right. That's it. Thank you.
Great. And again, I just want to welcome Dr. Melissa Morrow Small to the committee. I think it's great when someone takes their time out. People don't realize a lot of times this is a volunteer position, and people are taking time out from being at home with their young children, which I know Dr. Morrow Small does have. So for Dr. Morrow Small and anybody else that serves on this committee or other committees in town, thank you for doing that. And I hope that people continue to reach out to make this town the great place it could be. Other than that, I just want to say that I keep hearing how beautiful the graduation ceremony was. It pained me greatly not to be able to be there. I really enjoy it every year. I think that Rockland's graduation ceremony is really unique and just a really beautiful ceremony in a really beautiful setting. That stadium is just really a unique jewel that our town has, and it seems every year we just get a beautiful sunset going over the top of the high school. It's just a really, really great event. I was having the privilege and the displeasure of not being there. I was having the privilege of being the minister at my very best friend's wedding. So while I couldn't be there, it was for an important reason. Last but not least, I just wanted to comment on Rockland Day, which just happened here in Rockland this past Saturday, which was the first time it had been done. I thought it was absolutely awesome. It was really just a great event. Just Rockland community coming out being Rockland. I mean, it was organizations, businesses all down at that stadium. In the evening, we had a wonderful softball game down there, which some of our administration and teachers took place in, as well as other community leaders and business leaders. It was just a really good, beautiful day and a great feel-good day for Rockland, and another great reason to be proud to be from this town. So with that, that's all I've got, and we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. And a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Thank you very
We
much.
have another meeting in June, right?
Yes.
We do.
Yeah,
We
okay.
have one more meeting,
We do.
2 weeks. In 2 weeks.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and everybody have a great night.
You too, thank you.